Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. We're doing something a little different tonight. It's not really a super yacht news video. It's kind of it's a kind of super yacht news video. It's not the traditional type where I give you three stories, etc. What we're going to do is, based on last night's video, we did the interior look at the interior of the Bayesian yacht from the divers footage that was leaked from the investigation, which is actually an answer to one of the questions. But anyway, we did that video last night, and what it's done is it's raised a lot of questions. But there are a number of questions that were constantly repeated in the comments section today. Some of them maybe 50 times. So I thought we'll go through them, and I will help to alleviate these questions. So the first one, it says at 5 minutes 40 seconds, the electrical device looks a lot like a hard drive with a long cable. Not sure why it'd be there wrapped around something though. Now, quite a few people commented on this, and I think you're right. It's a good shout for those who said it. There was a list which I didn't get when I filmed last night. My team was still researching some stuff and translating it and stuff like that. My Italian's a little basic, let's say. So I had a member of my team speaks Italian, so that she was going through it, and I didn't get it until after the video. So it turns out they found a few items on board, and one of them was a hard drive in the engine control room. So that's something that was, like I said, there was a list shown in Quarta Repubblica last night, and this was the list: a hard drive found in the engine control room, a mobile phone belonging to Matthew Griffiths, the deckhand who was on watch on the bridge. They found other mobile phones from the crew. They found one smartwatch and two hardware computers. I have a feeling they might mean like big computers, you know, the part where everything's connected to the main part of the computer without the screen and the keyboard and everything, which could have been the PMS computers. When we saw in the engine control room there was a big screen, and I said that's where they can view all of the data of the ship. Well, there's a computer down below somewhere in a box, which is connected to that screen. So they may have taken that computer, I'm not sure. So that was the first question. So that was a good shout. Everyone who said it looked like a computer hard drive, a small portable hard drive. Obviously, it's floated around when the boat sank and landed on its side. Right, the next question was, and like I said, all of these questions have been asked by multiple people in various formats. I've just sort of selected some out of those versions. It says, is that footage from before they recovered the people? Because the lazarette could have been opened in the search attempts. Well, I actually said that in the video last night, that we don't know if it was opened by the divers or if it was in the opposition when they went down to recover. But the footage is from after the search and rescue. It's more recent, and they're looking for certain things now, and you know they're doing certain dives. We don't know exactly what they're doing, of course, but we know that they're trying to recover data which can help them in the investigation, like computers, hard drives, the DVR from the CCTV, etc. So that's why they're diving right now. The reason why we know it's more recent is because during the recovery they were only using tanks to dive, and now they're using a tether, which you can see in the video footage here, which has air and comms to each other and to the surface and some other items connected. Now, one of our viewers is a commercial diver, and he left a comment, and he also has a YouTube channel. It's called SSP Diving. So go check him out. If you're interested in this part, more specifically, what they're wearing, what the umbilical's for, you know, the type of flippers they're wearing and stuff like that. I don't dive. So if you want to know more about that, check out this chap's channel. He has like I said, is SSP Diving, and he left a comment telling us about this. He says I'm a commercial diver. This is what we call a penetration dive, which requires an in-water tender. The diver we see the feeding the hose as the other diver enters the wreck. The diving umbilical usually has 4 parts: 1 breathing hose, 2 voice communications, 3 a light/video cable. I think that's so the people on the surface can see. And then a pneumofathometer hose, which also serves as a backup breathing gas hose. A strength member, such as a rope, is taped in. This is slowly being phased out as the tensile strength of newer twist umbilicals are strong. Anyway, he's getting a bit detailed there for me, so I'll stop reading. But like I said, SSP Diving, he has his YouTube channel. He's going to do a video about the equipment that they're using to dive, so go and check him out. All right, so we'll move on to the next question. And this one says, seems that a lot of relevant footage wasn't published. Also, it doesn't seem a very well prepared dive as to the equipment taken and random trying to break stuff open with a crowbar. Well, first of all, everyone should be aware that this footage has not been released. It's been leaked. It's not officially released by the investigation. So, yeah, they haven't released all of the footage because they haven't released any of the footage officially. Of course, any investigation shouldn't be releasing footage, right? Because it's still ongoing. So that's why we're only seeing little bits. Also, I'm not sure what equipment they're supposed to take with them in the water. They're at a depth of 50 meters. And you know, if you know better equipment, then let us know. There are some items of equipment which we're going to go into in a minute. Yes, he's got a jack and blocks of wood. But you know, sometimes low tech is the way to go. But he also has a hydraulic tool, like a Jaws of Life type tool, which I spent hours trying to figure out what tool it was, and I finally found out after many hours of searching. So the next question is, he says they need to cut the mast off and refloat the vessel and take it away before sport divers start stripping any treasure off. I think it's about they're going to have lots of expensive watches and jewelry on there, and it's only 50 meters. There's plenty of wreck divers like me can dive that depth, and more especially with trimix. Well, the vessel's being guarded by the Italian military, so on the surface and below. So if anyone wants to try and dive to strip out treasure, then, you know, fill your boots. Good luck. We're going to come back to the raising of the boat in a minute. That's a question that kept coming up. But the next question is, surely the watertight door being open with a jack could have been open at the time of the sinking and only closed via gravity as the boat is on its side. Well, firstly, anything's possible, I guess. The way the watertight doors work. Now, one of the things we didn't see, which is a shame, is if I'd like to see the panel on the bridge for the centrally closing watertight doors to see the position that that button is in. So the way the watertight doors work is when the doors are, when they're open from the bridge, or when they're in the open position, the doors are naturally open. You can manually close them locally by pressing the button and closing the door. And then you press the button and open the door. And if you stop the door anywhere in between, the door will stop. Right. This is and then when the doors are closed from the bridge, it put into the closed position, all the doors will close. Now you can still pass through that door by opening it manually, locally. But if you once you take your finger off that button, it will close again. So that's the way it works. So if the captain closed the doors from the bridge, then the door will have been closed. If the doors were not closed from the bridge, then the door theoretically could have been in the open position. But the doors will not close on their own. Even though the boat's on the side, the door will not close on its own. It's on a rack system. I've got some video footage here. You can see it. The way the door is controlled. Now, another thing that came up endlessly was people talking about hydraulic doors, people who've got experience in the Navy, stuff like that. These doors are not hydraulic. Yachting, modern yachts have electric watertight doors. On a hydraulic system, you have like a big piston in a pneumatic in a hydraulic pipe, and then you pump the hydraulic and it closes the door. On the electrical system, you have more like a rack and pinion system. Like I'll show you in this video footage, you can see it here, and that's more representative of what you get on a yacht. And that is on a track. You can see it's got like a rack and pinion thing. You can see the track at the bottom. The door is not going to move even when the boat's on its side. That door is not going to move. So the only way, because that boat, when it was floating and it was sailing at sea, it could heel over to 30, 40 degrees, right? When they were sailing when they were under sail. So if those watertight doors were sliding around and closed, they could kill somebody. So there's no way that door's moving on its own. So one other person said that it doesn't prove to me that the door was closed at the time of the sinking, nor does it prove the door was open. Well, like I said, if you're referring to the door on the bridge, because he doesn't specify which door, the door on the bridge, yes, the door on the bridge is a hinge door and it could have closed, but it could be closed from gravity because it's laying on its starboard side. We don't know. But from the engineer who's worked on these boats, he said that dogged handle is in the dogged position, so it appears to be closed. And I think that's what I said in the video last night, that it appears to be closed, because you can't confirm any of this stuff really. Next person, it's again about the doors. He says, surely the watertight door being opened with the jack could have been open at the time of the sinking and only closed via gravity. But I've already answered that question. Another comment said, if the door was closed, how did they get it open to get the wood and jack in there? That's a great question. That led me to spend a few hours trying to figure out how they did it. Now, in the video footage, in the end, what I had to do is I was looking at the video footage, I spotted a tool that they're using, and then in the end, I had to flip the video footage upside down and zoom in, and I could see writing on the side of this tool that they were using, which looks like something that the fire service used called the jaws of life. Now, I was trying to figure out how they would use it underwater, because I don't think it, it's generally, these things are not designed to work underwater. I also find the name of the company. It's written on the side of the tool, but the tool was upside down in the footage. I flipped the footage upside down. I couldn't see the whole name, but eventually I got it. The name is Hull Matro. And I saw that you can see the tool in some of the shots that I'll put on the screen, and you can see that it's in the open position. So that's how they've opened that door. Even if the door was fully closed, which I suspect it was, if that door was fully closed, they've used that, which in the closed position, and then they've opened, the tools opened it, and then they've got a gap between it, and they've started shoving planks of wood in there. I think that's how they've done it. The tool, I even got it down to the particular tool here. You can see there's a hand-pumped version of the tool. I don't think it's exactly the same tool, but I think it's this. This is the type of tool that they've used there. It's got a hand pump on it, so you can pump it open once you shove it in there. I think that's what they've done. Now, other thing as well is what I realized after we filmed last night was that when we see them trying to break into that cupboard, the first one with the crowbar, I think that cupboard there, I'll pause it here, that cupboard there is right next to the sliding door. And I think the electrics and the hand pump or the hand opening of that sliding door is in that cupboard. And I think that's why they were trying to get in there. I'll pause it in this position. You can see the sliding door is right on the left there. It's right next to where they're trying to crow that door open. You can see that the jack is in there and the wood and everything. The way they're filming there, it looks like this. It looks like it's upright, like in the normal position, how it would be if it was floating. But obviously, it's on everything's on its side, resting on its side, right? So the jack and the wood is in the gap between the door, but that's actually, you flip that 90 degrees to your left, and that's what it looks like to them. Like I said about these doors, they're not hydraulic. If you've been in the Navy, you might assume that all watertight doors, centrally operated watertight doors, are hydraulic, but they're not. We have electric ones. Now, any door, an electric door or hydraulic door, they have to have the ability. If there's a blackout, they have to have the ability to be able to be operated, opened and closed 3 times as a backup. So with a hydraulic one, it has to have enough. Has to have enough pressure in it to be opened and closed 3 times before it runs out of pressure. The battery ones, they have the electric ones have to have a battery backup, and the batteries have to be able to operate the door 3 times open and closed before the power dies. So that's the difference between the doors. Now, this is the question that came up. I think this question came up more than any other question. And I love the way people talk about this stuff. I mean, it's clear, obviously they don't understand the massive task. So I'm wondering why they wouldn't rather raise the yacht instead of opening doors, etc., and keep the yacht exactly as it was. And then another question, the same different person, same question: is it going to be refloated? There's lots of people saying, why haven't they refloated it yet? They did it with the big cruise ship, Costa Concordia. It took them years to raise the Costa Concordia, and that wasn't even completely sunk. That was still partially on the surface, right? I think it took like 2 years to move that vessel. So I mean, that's a much bigger vessel, but it's not an easy job to raise a vessel from the seabed. It's in 50 meters. And it's going to take time, and they are working on it. But there's a few things they have to do. First of all, they're trying to recover things that can't wait down there for the few months it's going to take them to raise it, like the hard drives and stuff. Also, they've got to drain off that fuel from the vessel. I'm not quite sure how they're going to do that. I don't think they're going to try and connect to the pipes in there, and I don't know how they're going to do it, because it's going to be supremely difficult. So yeah, if anybody out there has got any experience with this kind of thing, which is probably, you know, not that many people, I'd be interested to know your comments. You can contact us, info or news at theyachtReport.co.uk. So once they've pumped off all the fuel, that's not going to move it until that happens, because if the boat breaks up when they're trying to raise it, the water, all that oil is going to, all the fuel is going to leak out, and then it's going to be a big disaster. So that's why they're not moving it yet. So they are going to raise it, but it's not an easy job at all. A lot of people are like, "Oh man, how hard can it be?" Literally saying that in the comments. Yeah, it's not easy. So now. This is just a little bit of fun, really, at the end here. Lastly, when I mentioned that there were some headphones on the floor outside the door, I said that, look, I said that was weird that they'd be laying on the floor, and someone said, well, that's not weird. They're outside the door. Well, if you think about it, though, when we were looking at the footage, it looks like it's normal, but it's all on 90 degrees. So the headphones were on the floor or the deck, but the deck is now the wall or the bulkhead, right? So yeah, it's weird that they're still there. So yeah, so that's quite funny. But the funny, the one that got me the most is, and it prompted me to think about possibly starting a new segment. You might remember, if you've been watching long enough, that I did a section called correcting corrections, where I corrected people who tried to correct us when they're actually incorrect. I haven't done that for a while, actually, but I was thinking about doing a new one and calling it unnecessary corrections. And this is an example of it. It says they're not headphones, they're ear defenders. Ear or headphones carry audio signal. Well, seriously? So, you know, headphones, ear defenders, you know, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. So yeah, unnecessary correction there. But anyway, that's pretty much what I've got. I just wanted to go through that because, like I said, those questions were repeated in the comments section many times. So I thought I'd go through them and hopefully clear them up. So if this generates any more, then maybe we'll look at those in a future video. All right, guys. All right, I'm going to go. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that stuff. And I'll catch up with you soon. Bye-bye.